Hello, friends, and welcome to Virtual Strangers 117. I'm your host, Wes. With me, as always, my good friend Roots. Roots, back in the saddle again, my friend.
I don't know. In every stream, I feel a little bit more comfortable with what's going on behind the scenes and all the producing here. So I'm good. Everything I guarantee, well, outside the
Yeah,
internet.
it's you know what the funny thing is you say everything's going get, and then I hear robot roots in
Did
my
you?
ear, and I have
What?
no idea what else you said after that.
Oh wow. Did you guys hear Robo Roots as well, or was that just a West thing? I know. I mean, I'm just looking at the monitoring, I mean, I'm not dropping frames. I'm not, I don't know what was going on with the internet last night, but it was definitely internet related because the bandwidth was all over the place and it sucked.
I, I'm sure it's fine. It's just something that Discord does intermittently every now and then when we're on it. And I just thought the timing of it was funny because you're like,
Oh,
it's
I
all
gotcha.
good.
Well, who doesn't love to be all robotic? I love being robo roots, and there's a lot of robot news out these days, and I was thinking, about the pleasure robots. I guess we'll say without going too much into it, but um, who would love to have one of those robots, Wes?
My
Absolutely not.
mom!
Yeah, for real, bro.
Yeah, anyway, so we are back. We've managed to pull off 2 days in a row of show, which is something we haven't been able to say for a while.
Hmm.
And it's in preparation for today's show. It's noticeable, right? It's like it's like the water hose has had a kink in it, and the pressure's been allowed to build up because I had so much stuff to choose from when deciding what to cover today. So I think what we're going to do, we're going to have our normal show in our normal format. But we've had games for weeks now that we're supposed to be playing and telling you people about. So we're going to work a couple of those into the show today as well. It's going to be kind of a hybrid show where we're sticking to our Virtual Strangers format, but we're going to give some impressions as well as we get into the main meat of the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Berber Cat says good evening, and I'm thinking you must be on the UK side or something because it's like midday here for me. It's starting to get evening for you though, right? 4 o'clock is
Yeah,
pretty.
yeah. It it becomes obvious pretty quickly that we do have quite a few people over the pond that like to watch our show, or across the pond rather. I was talking to Monologic Games earlier today, in our Discord, and it was like, I don't know, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and they told me to enjoy the rest of my evening, and I'm like, dude, I haven't enjoyed the first of my evening yet.
I haven't even enjoyed the rest of my afternoon yet. Don't try to. It's
Yeah.
like people that are talking about fall and winter, and I want to slap them because I'm like, dude, like you're trying to rush summer. I feel like summer's flying by already. Don't speed it up, please. Let's slow it down a little bit.
And speaking of fall, what's more ironic than the fact that we're probably going to get after the fall, after the fall?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be ironic, and I know who was it that was just saying they were well, Ian was saying that he was waiting on that game. We're all waiting on that game, but Wes and I were saying before the show that we're glad Vertigo Games is taking their time because it's gonna be amazing and we want it to blow us away, so we'll wait. So
Yeah. In the meantime, time is going to fly by because the releases are really starting to come hard and heavy now, with regards to basically every platform, and we're going to be talking about a lot of that today and in the weeks to come. I mean, we've got Ven coming this week. We've got the Pistol Whip update coming this week. Synth Riders is hitting PSVR this week. Then we've got let's see what else is coming this month. Lone Echo 2 is coming this month.
oh god.
Fracked. How could we? Fracked is less than 2 weeks away at this point, Roots. Um, and that's just to name the ones that right off the top of my head for the remainder of August. I mean, it's going to be crazy nonstop VR Central until after the fall gets here. After the fall.
Well, that's good. We have a lot of good games coming up, and A lot of good games coming up to talk about today. One of them being one of those games you just mentioned, right? Ven VR.
Yeah, absolutely. And Monologic Games joining us in chat says, hello, we have 22:40 p.m. So what is that, Roots,
10.
in military time? That's 10:40, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost midnight. Was it Poland? Is that where they're based at?
I would have. Even if I didn't know that, I would say it's a good guess because all the good games come out of Poland. So
Right, right. You can guess by the quality of the game if the studio's from Poland, right?
yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, oh, Mash Daddy joining with his weekly $5 support. Thank you, Eric. I got your name right today, by the way. Sunday with the strangers, he says. Things now feel a little more right with the world. Well, you know, not for nothing, but I did enjoy having you on last week, Eric. As always, you set in quite well for my good friend here.
Absolutely. I'll tell you what, Mash, you are a class act. You're welcome here anytime, and you actually you're a good addition to our voices as far as what we have to say. So
The third stranger, that's what I
yes,
like to call him, Rich.
absolutely.
Anyway, as I was alluding to prior, we do have a lot to cover today, and we're going to get it done, Roots. We have this much time and this much stuff to talk about, but I'm just putting it out there right now. We're gonna do it. We're gonna get it done.
Well, we've been doing good. We actually we got off last night and we went exactly under an hour and a half, and that's what we've been shooting for. So that was good.
So let's get into it. But of course, where are my manners? Before we do that, let's kick it off the way we always do by saying hello to our friends in chat. We already said hello to our friend Mash Daddy, Eric. Delirium Drew's in the chat. He says, stranger danger, buddy. Truer words have never been spoken. VR Spry Guy says, you know who else likes a third stranger?
My mom!
Oh yes,
Oh,
she does.
She loves it. Mepper is in the chat, as is Technoglitch and Onakazi. Some good conversation, by the way, taking place around our video yesterday from these guys. Lighten up the comments as they should. You can always tell when you get a good topic in Roots because people, you don't have to ask them to comment. They want to comment. And yesterday's video, a great example of that.
Yeah, dude. I keep thinking about the PlayStation 5 VR and I want it, Wes. I don't want to wait a year. It's going to blow us away.
Well, it takes time, Roots. When you're talking about literally, I heard Without Parole describe it as skipping a generation with regards to hardware.
Mm.
And when you compare PSVR today compared to what PSVR is going to be a year from now, I think skipping a generation is an accurate description.
Yeah, that's actually really good at description. So, yeah.
PD Paradise Decay joining us in chat. What's up, buddy? He was all broken up yesterday, Roots, that he didn't get to catch us live, but PD not missing today's show. He's participating in today's festivities.
Man, there's something about being live, I think. It's just so much fun. I like it.
Traveling Man 3775 is in the chat. He says, thanks for the countdown videos on your channel, Monologic Games. Yeah, Monologic gets it, man. They've kept us updated, right, with the development of Quest. People, it's a kind of a cliche. These studios always say, we'll keep you updated, and then you don't hear from them for 6 months. Not the case with Monologic. They're out there every week giving us footage, even if it's just a 10-second clip or a screenshot, showing us where they're at in the development. And I think it's going to pay off, Roots, next week when their game hits the Quest store.
Well, I'll tell you what, it baffles me. And I've said this before, like just the way VR companies market or don't market. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it's very smart. And like they could just not say anything for 6 months and their game would come out and people would still love it because it's so amazing. But I think it's very good that they're keeping it in the eye of the people for sure.
Absolutely. Burger Cat in the chat. Welcome back. We already said hello to Monologic. Radio Run already got his grass cutting done this week, Roots. So he's watching live, not just listening.
He's only a couple
Uh,
weeks away, Wes, from getting his dream VR room. I mean, he's moving to Idaho, but he's actually getting his they built a specific room and he got to design it. You know what I mean? Who doesn't want to do that with the VR room?
yeah, it's everybody's dream, right? And you know what? I say that, but if I had like my the opportunity to do the same thing, I would probably design out this big elaborate space with specialized rugs to show me where the edges of the boundaries are at, and all this different stuff on the wall to help for tracking. And then when I got it all finished, I would pull a chair to the center of the room and sit down.
It'd be almost wasted. You know, it'd be cool is if you had a big enough room, you could set it up to where you had like different rugs for multiple headsets, and so everybody's like in the same room playing together. But you're not, you know what I mean? You're not going to walk into each other because you've got your carpet under your feet. So
Well,
that'd be cool.
that would be nice, especially as we start to get games like Space Pirate Arena that are built around having multiple headsets in the same space.
Yeah,
So yeah, that would be pretty cool.
yeah, it'd be real cool.
Uh, Wormsworth is in the chat. What's up? Lincoln Clay is in the chat, as is Garage Collective. What's up, Cyril? Um,
Midlife Kid
hey,
just coming in says just Wes. Well,
just
actually,
West.
I guess I don't have it on top chat. Well, yeah, still
Okay.
lasting. Yeah, Midlife Kid. So hey, what's
So
up, Midlife Kid?
just West. What? Somebody else said just West a moment ago.
Hmm.
Maybe there's something going on here with.
Oh, well, the
Uh,
VR Spry Guy, if you go up, it says, you know who else likes a third stranger? Maybe that they're talking about you. I don't know.
Onakazi says just West for me. I don't know, man. I don't know what they're talking about.
Interesting.
Let's see here. Countdown. They're talking about the countdown resetting. If there's a problem, guys, specify in the chat what the problem is. I've seen a couple of comments that say just West, but I have not found anything that say what. What about me?
Maybe you're the only one that's going to get lucky in Kentucky. And I would say that's pretty true, at least out of the two of us.
It's a good bet. Anyway, lots to talk about. Let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and get into the week's headlines. And some interesting headlines this week, as is the case every week. And as we often do, we're going to kick it off with some Valve news. Valve says that Steam Deck hardware is, quote, very relevant to our future VR plans. So this was an interview that was given one of the top brass at Valve, and they were asked point blank if the custom APU that's in the Steam Deck could possibly work inside of a standalone VR headset, some kind of a competitor to the Oculus Quest. And they said, I always think it's funny, Roots, when these people are asked questions like this and they answer it by saying, well, I can't say anything about it right now, which literally says everything that you need to say, right? So they literally get a grin on their face, say, I can't talk about it right now, but it would be kind of perfect for that application in terms of the thermal footprint of the APU. And it is part of our, it is a significant part of our future plans or something to that effect. I'm, of course, paraphrasing. But it sounds like Valve's working on standalone Roots.
Oh, how amazing. I was just talking to Scion before the show in the Discord about that. And because I feel bad because he's missing out on so many standalone games. And I was like, I wish somebody would come out with a competitor. Now my question is, would they be able to, are the Quest 2 games going to be exclusive? Are all these games, are they going to have no library? Or, you know, that would be the question, right?
That absolutely 100% is the question. And I want to pose this question to chat. Assuming that Steam, again, question to the chat, assuming that Steam has a standalone headset in the works, what do we think the library is going to consist of? Do we think that it's going to have games that are optimized for standalone, like the Oculus Quest library, or B, do we think that Valve is going to release a standalone headset that is so powerful that it runs Steam VR games on the headset. Because we
Mm.
know Valve has always been all about PC gaming and nothing else but PC gaming. They're releasing a handheld and it runs PC games. Do we believe that if they release a standalone headset, that it also will run Steam VR? Or do we think that it's going to be kind of a hybrid like Quest that runs standalone games, but also tethers to the computer to run Steam VR? So I'd like to know what people in chat think about that.
Yeah, me too. I want to
What
know
do you
what
think, Roots?
I want to know what the truth is, but no, I don't know, man. It's I guess it could be something that could, I mean, couldn't they just make the index wireless and then it does the same thing for this connecting to Steam, right? Like at some point, you don't really need a standalone headset. You just need to make your current headset wireless or the next iteration. If you're talking about, unless you're talking about hooking up to something that's like the Stream Deck, right? Which I mean, I don't know, man. There's so many questions, and it's exciting though, right?
Yeah, it is. And I mean, it's hard to believe that they would do something like that and not try to get in on the cash cow, right? That standalone VR is right now. Although VR Spry guy in the chat says, I really don't care about standalone. You're gonna. And the reason why, and we're gonna be talking more about this later, these games, the gap between standalone and PC is getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Because they cut the Quest 1 loose, right? People don't have to develop for that anymore. And beyond that, the studios are getting better at developing for the standalone hardware now. The games over the last couple of months have been really amazing on Oculus Quest 2.
Yeah, absolutely. Techno Glitch also agrees, says I don't really care for standalone games, just wireless. I'll be happy.
So there you go. I fully would expect it to wirelessly tether to Steam VR.
Yeah, yeah.
That way they could stay true to their identity, right? They're heralded as this champion for PC gaming. I don't think that the masses would take it very well if they released a product that didn't at least also do PC gaming, right?
So maybe they do a standalone headset that is not cheap. You know, it costs $1,000 like the Index, but it's got every bell and whistle, and it blows the Quest out of the water as far as everything you can do. I mean, it's going to be an amazing headset. You know, if you hook it up to your computer as well, and it does both. Somehow it hacks. I mean, I would imagine there's got to be a way to play the Quest 2 games, right? I mean, you've got games that do like Revive, so they could do the same thing for something like that, right? Or even was it Pimax? They natively were running Oculus games, right? So there's got to be a way that they can crack that code. I don't know if that would get them in trouble legally.
What I would expect is if Steam's going to run a standalone platform, they'll have their own standalone platform. Developers will port their games to the Steam standalone platform, whatever they decide to call it. That's what I would expect to happen.
Okay. So no exclusives. Maybe you'd get some Valve exclusives. I don't know. Who knows, man? Somebody needs to be a competitor to Facebook, right?
Wouldn't you love it if Half-Life 3 ended up being a standalone VR game?
Oh God. Well, then people would be so conflicted, right? Because they would want to shit on it, but they can't because it's a gaming product, bro. That would be good. Let's hope that happens.
Yeah. Let's just lay in that one for a little bit longer as we move on to the next headline. Gabe Newell, quote, Alyx's ending felt right for where we're going with Half-Life. So, this headline making a lot of news because obviously it points to Valve making another Half-Life game, which we all kind of knew to begin with that they were going to do that. I mean, anyone who played through Half-Life Alyx could see where they're going with it. But really, it doesn't say one way or the other whether or not the next Half-Life game will support VR.
Hmm.
And I don't know if Valve would make a hybrid game that can be played both flat and in VR, because it would have to include some concessions. Well, either they would have to water down the VR experience just a little bit so that they can make a flat game to be played in VR, or they would have to make basically two versions of the same game, one for flat screens and one for VR.
Yeah, I guess they could do that, or maybe they feel like VR is the future in general. I mean, the other story we just talked about, they're still moving forward in VR, right? They're talking about Index 2. They got this. They can't talk about a standalone thing, so they're clearly still in VR. I just don't. The one thing that I took from the interviews about Half-Life Alyx was VR was the one thing that reinvigorated them to make VR games at all. I don't think that they're going backwards into flat gaming. I just don't think it. And that is, I guess, this is what I'm really curious. I'm being more interested overall, because if they don't, it's really going to say exactly where they stand. And a lot of people are going to be pissed, just like they were last time. But maybe they're just going to have to get into VR finally and say, okay, if I want to play the rest of this series, I have to do it in VR. And it's getting cheap enough to where it's not going to be as big of a deal to get into VR next time. And when it comes out, PlayStation 5 VR will be out, and then it'll be more mainstream than ever. Maybe it comes out on that. That'd be cool. So
Yeah, I think that's really kind of the missing point, or the missing part of the discussion, is that this isn't a game that's going to be out next year. We're talking about probably 5 years from now at the very least. And the VR landscape is going to be completely different at that point. It's not going to be like it is today. There's going to be a lot more people in headsets. So I think that it's very likely that the next Half-Life Alyx is going to be a VR game, or Half-Life game is going to be a VR game. And I think that before we get to that point, we're going to see Half-Life Alyx on PlayStation 5 VR, and it's going to be out for a year or two at the very least, before we get the sequel. So, yeah, I think that at worst, it's a 50-50 shot right now, whether or not it's a VR game or a flat game.
yeah, absolutely. Spry Guy says he thinks Valve is currently working on Half-Life 3 Flat Edition. So,
Well,
maybe.
yeah, I would imagine so, but they don't get in any kind of hurry. I don't know if it's flat or not. I think they probably are still working on it right now, but that don't mean that it's going to be out anytime soon. It just means that they're laying the groundwork for the next groundbreaking, amazing thing. We have to remember what Half-Life titles have always been. They've always been this watershed moment for gaming. They always introduce something new to the gaming ecosystem that we've never seen before. They're probably working on Half-Life 3 right now alongside their prototype index that has the electrodes that interact with your brain, right?
Absolutely. Wolveraza says Half-Life Alyx could be on PS4, but for the damn analogs. Yeah, I'll tell you what, I guess it could. Do you think the slim PS4? This is the thing. Sony hasn't cut tether from the PS4 Slim. So you would have to be able to play it on Slim, and I don't know. Would it be able to play this Half-Life Alyx? Do you think?
I think Valve could make a watered down version that would run on it. I mean, we've seen some amazing games run on
True,
that little system there, so I think it could happen.
dude.
I don't think I
Okay.
don't think that thumbsticks are the limiting factor that's
No.
keeping them out of it.
Dude, I saw a Slim the other day at a customer's house. I don't even know. Like, it's so tiny. I'm like, how do they compute anything? I'm looking at my PS5, and it's just this humongous beefy thing, right? It's just crazy how that a Slims, the Slim, the new ones, like they that they can do what they do. It's crazy.
Yeah, that was my first VR machine, PS4 Slim.
Mm. That's true. Well, Hard to Get says Hitman 3 runs quite well on PS4, so Half-Life Alyx could. That's a good point. I mean, it's not like Hitman 3 is not an amazing game as well.
Boy, is it. I've been thinking about that game a lot here lately. I need to get back into it.
Yeah.
Headline: SteamVR update lets you float desktop windows inside of your VR games. Roots, I knew this was going to happen.
Hmm.
As soon as I bought the OVR toolkit, I knew that they were going to do something like this, and here we are, proof positive.
Good thing is OVR toolkit has extra stuff you can do on top of it, but it is good because that's one of the things that sucks about playing a game that's Steam VR, or at least for me, is like if I was streaming, I couldn't pull up Windows. And it's not even about streaming. You play Elite Dangerous and you want to have a video on watch a YouTube video while you're flying across the galaxy or whatever game. It's kind of nice option to have, right? So it's good that Steam VR is finally getting this option.
Yeah, you could be watching Prawn and have other windows of more Prawn everywhere. You know who would love to do that?
Oh,
My
man.
mom!
Yeah, don't get her too much worked up on Prawn, man. Unleash the beast.
Headline: Vertigo Games acquires time style dev Forcefield. Forcefield not only responsible for bringing us time style roots, also brought us other games like Landfall, brought us Coaster Combat. Solid pickup for Vertigo Games and by extension Koch Media.
Oh, nice. Well, are they going to make a Coaster Combat 2? That's what I want to know, and I want the horror
not right
edition.
now. Not right now. And the reason why I say that, because I think the actual headline here was actually buried within the story. If you read on through the story, it goes on to explain that the Forcefield is already working on a quote AAA VR title from a known IP.
Oh, wow.
So Vertigo Games is not just picking them up for nothing. They're going to be publishing one of the big releases probably next year or the year after because of this acquisition.
Wow. Man, we're on the edge, dude, of like everything we've been waiting for. And I feel like it's Christmas Eve, bro. And like tomorrow morning, I'm going to wake up and it's there. But tomorrow morning is like a year or two away. Man, Santa needs to hurry up. Taking too long.
I feel like as VR moves into a new generation, and we've been witnessing this pretty much since the release of the Oculus Quest, we're starting to see these indie studios that have continually grown. We're starting to see strata develop, right? Different levels for these studios, and we're starting to see who the top studios are. I would put of course, Vertigo Games in that discussion. I would say that Fast Travel Games is another. I would say Resolution Games is another. nDreams, who we're about to talk about, is another. And Servios, although Servios is struggling kind of to find their identity, I feel like where all these other studios that we mentioned kind of know where they're, they have a clear vision for what they want to do. Servios just kind of jumps around from IP to IP, putting out different stuff, and nothing. They make a lot of good games and only a few great ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They're kind of like that kid that gets all the opportunities and then blows them all. Because like they're huge IPs, like nothing bigger than The Walking Dead, bro. Like, you know what I mean? You've seen what it's done for Skydance Interactive by making a good version. It's crazy, dude.
Yeah, Skydance, another one that it's funny. All these other studios that I just mentioned have multiple, titles that they've either developed or published. But Skydance is that one that just did so well on that one title. Not that they only have one. Archangel's a great title, don't get me wrong, but they knocked it out of the park so far with The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners that they automatically leveled up just based on that one game.
Yeah, and it was good because you don't want to see an IP get ruined. How many games did we grow up playing? Whatever, Atari, Nintendo, whatever. Got to the point where I didn't want to play any games that were based on movies because they sucked. You know what I mean? Because they were always cheesy and horrible.
LJN. Yeah, I feel you there. Headline: Arashi dev wants to grow the game beyond the PSVR debut. So, Arashi Castles of Sin looks amazing. This is a upcoming PlayStation VR exclusive, uh, kind of a Tenchu in VR feel that you get from the early footage of this game, and it looks incredible. And anytime there's a PSVR exclusive that gets announced that looks incredible, inevitably the VR media asks them, "Well, you think you might come to PC one day?" And they didn't say yes. They just basically wouldn't rule it out, and that was enough for them to run with the headline here.
Yeah, they want to grow the game. Oh, so they don't rule it out. That is kind of crazy wording there, right? Because it sounds like to me, man, they're ready to do it today. But
Yeah, I think they would, but I think they've already, drank from the cup of that Sony money, and they're locked up for a little while.
well, what's funny is everybody wants to be on the best platform out there, and any dev that has the dev kit probably knows that that's PlayStation 5 VR, and I would want to stay. I'll do an exclusive, but it's good. It's good for everybody that doesn't have a PlayStation VR. Maybe this game will be coming. So
Some Archangel love in the chat. Space Dennison says, "I hope we get Archangel too." I'd be down for that, man. I'd be down for it. I don't know if they would do it or not. I don't know how profitable it would be for them, but I mean, when it comes to the rail shooters, or just even games in general, I mean, Archangel displayed a level of polish that was uncommon at the time that it came out.
hmm.
And it still graphically holds up even today. And it's a fun game. It's one of those games that's easy to play. And I feel like if a game like that were to come to, say, Oculus Quest, that it would have a lot higher profile today, because games like that are great as demos, right, for new players, because pretty much anybody can pick that game up and play it.
Yeah, absolutely. And unless they're your son, and then they just wrote it off a long time ago. Wolveraza says he wishes they would just stop development on all PSVR until they're dealing with the rest of VR controls like the rest of us. Anything coming out until PSVR 2 is going to be a waste of effort. So I guess you might as well not get fracked in a couple weeks, Wes.
Oh, people act as if PSVR still isn't like the most populated platform out there by a long shot. Like, Quest has done well, and it's the hot thing right now. There still isn't half as many Quest in circulation as there are PSVR headsets. Like, that, right? Like, there's more people out there with Move controllers than touch controllers even today. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean that there aren't legions out there. There absolutely are, and myself included among them.
How did you handle the fracked demo without the analog sticks? Was it okay?
I think there's a video up that shows that I did just fine. Like, I moved all around everywhere I wanted to. Over the years, the PSVR development community kind of has developed a standard way of locomotion. And while it might not be the easiest thing for a newcomer to pick up and get right away, if you put a little time into it, it does become second nature to you, and it becomes something that you don't have to think about. You just pick up the controllers and play like you would with anything else.
Yeah. All of that joking aside, that I'm giving ribbon Wolveraza a little bit. My thing is like, why I don't understand why from the beginning they didn't have analog sticks on that. Or at some point, I can imagine PlayStation VR if the original OG Move controllers had joysticks on them. Like,
Well, to be honest, I think that the PlayStation VR as a product was originally developed as a means to deal with the overstock of moving controllers. Like
true, probably.
The PSVR was built around the Move controller. If you look at the earliest prototypes of PlayStation VR, it was this headset that literally had Move controllers attached to it to track the headset. Like,
and everything's on those balls. I'll tell you what, then we blame all the bastards that didn't adopt it from the PlayStation 3 era, right? It's their fault. Jerks.
Yep, absolutely.
How dare you?
So yeah.
How dare you?
I think that PSVR has a nice last ride ahead up to it, and I think it would be a shame if we were to cut it short now because the people that don't have PSVRs don't want them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and now I think I am going to pick one up, Wes. Damn it. I keep going back and forth, and now I
I
need
mean, how could you not, dude? I mean, like Fracked, Hitman 3,
Iron Man.
Arashi, Iron Man, Dreams,
Rush of
not to
Blood.
mention
I have
Farpoint, Resident Evil. I mean, come on, bro.
That's true. I have Resident Evil 7. I have access because of PlayStation Plus because that's one of the free games. And I have access to Rush of Blood because after my nephew scratched the disc, I bought it digital. So that was actually a good thing that he scratched it.
Have you even played Golem yet?
I have not played Golem.
Golem's a good game.
I haven't played a lot of stuff.
If Golem's a good game, if you pick up a Move Nav controller. And by the way, for those of you out there who don't know what a Move Nav controller is, it's a Move controller with a thumbstick. They do exist, and Golem supports it as well as a couple other games like Honor and Duty supports it as well.
How cool would it be if somehow they made a way you could use that on every game? Then there's your hack, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's recognized. I think even the PS5 recognizes that controller when you turn it on.
Yeah.
So I mean, that if developers wanted to develop for it, they could. The only problem with it is there's no positional tracking with it. It's just a thumbstick and buttons in your hand. So.
Yeah. Well, you've convinced me. PSVR is not dead. I didn't think it was, but.
Headline: Gary's Mod sequel, S&box details initial VR support. So Gary's Mod, kind of a big deal with regards to the history of PC gaming. Kind of a Half-Life 2 mod, which became a sandbox, which became a game engine, which became all kinds of popular games. And we speculated when we heard about Half-Life Alyx that we would one day hear about a sequel to Gary's Mod, and Ruuts, that day has come. And as we suspected, VR support on the way for this sequel to Gary's Mod.
That's exciting, man. That's huge news. When I saw this, I was like, that's what we've been waiting for, right? A lot of games were made. Counter-Strike, I think, was made off of Gary's Mod, right? And a lot of the different games. So who knows what we're going to get. And who knows what, I mean, if you're a developer or you're you just want to get into developing, you could potentially be the next creator of an amazing game, right? Through Gary's Mod. So.
Oh, these guys, I mean, this isn't just some dude that's doing this either. This is a legit development studio. And I forgot what they put a game out. Let me see what it was here. I'll click into the story. Rust. This is the guys that brought us Rust. Have you heard of Rust, Ruuts?
I have. Rust just updated. What was it? I saw some kind of news. They just updated something to it that sounded pretty cool. I got some friends that play it and stream it, and the only aspect of Rust I didn't like was the fact that I could have somebody invade my stuff when I'm not there, and come back and everything.
Some of the funniest videos I've ever watched on YouTube are Rust trap videos where they build these elaborate traps, capture people in these rooms, and people, they so don't want to die. They'll make them fight their friends and battle to the death, and like the winner gets to live, and it's really funny.
That's crazy, dude. Yeah, I don't want to be in that position. That sucks.
Dude, it's hilarious. It's really funny. Some of these traps and some of these themes that they come up with for these videos are so elaborate and creative. I went on a kick for like a solid month watching these videos.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's those people that are behind Gary's Mod, and it's those same people who are going to be behind the sequel with VR support. So Gary's Mod it literally spawned hundreds of games into the PC ecosystem. It would be nice if we get a few good ones in the VR catalog from the sequel here.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Headline: Deadly Defense Horde mode now available for Drop Dead Dual Strike. So this one kind of hit me out of nowhere, Roots. We have Drop Dead Dual Strike, which is probably the one title on Steam I don't own, that I've literally thought about buying like 50 times because it's only $15 for this game. And it's got a legit co-op zombie shooting campaign in it. Like everything we asked for, this game has. But anyway, this game's been out forever at $15. And the developer showing it a little love here, giving it a brand new game mode, 30 levels of horde mode, fully playable in multiplayer, just like the rest of the game.
Oh wow, that's crazy. Did you say it was a Steam or is this an Oculus game?
This is Quest. This is a Quest game.
Oh, I think you said Steam, but I was like Steam. I thought this was Quest. Maybe I'm hearing wrong. I don't know.
Maybe I said it, I don't know, but this is a Quest game. That again, it's already a notable multiplayer game. It's already cheap, and I got to imagine a lot of people already own this game. It's interesting that they're still supporting it.
What's wrong with us, Wes? Because I also have questioned. I've thought about buying this several times, and for whatever reason, I don't own it. It seems like a game I should own, right?
Yeah, yeah. Interestingly, our show Oculus account just got the 30% code in it. And I'm trying to think maybe we should
Ooh.
pick something up with it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that. So it did. I want my 30% code as well.
All right. Well, keep watching that email and don't play the games that you buy.
Well, that's true.
Headline: New update for the Climb 2 brings monthly challenges and collectibles. So it's interesting, man. You don't hear a lot of people talking about the Climb 2 the way you did the Climb 1.
Mm.
And it looks cool, but it's interesting. An interesting observation. It doesn't seem to be as widely applauded as the first one was.
No, people are put off for whatever reason. They're not doing a PCVR version. People wanted to be oohed and awed by the, be able to super sample and everything else. And I mean, that's the number one complaint I hear. The number one reason people say they didn't pick it up, and it's not unique to me because that's the reason I didn't pick it up. So I'm a perfect case example. I would imagine that has to have something to do with it. Because you said there's really nothing different about it. I mean, except for it's got some cool environments, right? It's got the city. I was kind of psyched to play about it until I heard that it was not PCVR, and then I just checked out.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Like all of these other games do so well just as standalone titles, but when you get a continuation of a PC franchise that comes standalone only, the existing user base, which are mostly PC gamers, aren't interested, right? And apparently it's that disinterest has spread to the standalone community.
Yeah.
Either that or people bought it and just aren't that passionate about it, then they don't talk about it.
Well, I mean, it's not different enough from the first one. I mean, if you've played the first one, I've heard it's the same as the second one. And so, the game, it's climbing, dude. When it came out, when did the Climb 1 come out? 2016, when VR first dropped, right? Or generally, maybe it was somewhere in that general thing. So everything was new. Climbing was awesome. Okay, now we're 5 years down the road. Climbing is in every game. It's amazing to climb, but it's a climbing game. So what do you have left? You have the visuals. And now you're going to stick me in a foveated rendering subpar experience when I wanted the clarity of the PCVR. That's the one thing that you have left is the visuals. And then, like you said, the existing user base being almost exclusively PCVR to begin with, it's kind of, I think they kind of screwed themselves.
Yeah, a little weird, man. It's a little weird. I do have some mild interest in the game, but only because of those different environments. I mean, that's really the extent of my interest in it. I don't care about monthly challenges or this timed mode that they added in. None of that really means anything to me. That game has always been about the environments, and it's the new environments that really generate any interest that I have in it.
Oh, maybe this is a perfect game that you were just talking about for the 30% code, and then the patrons and the people that watch the show pay for it, and we get to check it out and tell everybody whether we think it's worth getting on Quest or not. So
Maybe. I mean, just a handful of games that I don't have that I want. Most of them being multiplayer, which means that
you have
it
to,
really doesn't do any good to buy one copy of a multiplayer game. So,
yeah,
you might be right. This might be the one.
yeah, cool.
Headline: nDreams opening a second VR studio focused on live service games. So, we were talking a moment ago about the studios kind of stratifying in a certain uh, echelon of studio ending up at the top of the heap. I think nDreams is cementing themselves as one of these studios, and nothing more evident of that than the fact that they're opening up a second VR studio. And this is completely remote work. They've got some big name guys from the gaming industry coming in to run this place, and it's going to be running. I assume what they mean by live service games are these kind of games as a service, live gaming, like some fitness games take this model, and some like shooter games, seasonal shooter games take this model. I assume that that's what they're talking about by live service.
Yeah, that's what I would imagine. I mean, the only other thing would be like a live on-site thing, but I think they would word it differently, and I don't think anybody's moving in that direction right now. That's not a good idea. I don't think anyway.
Anyway, I'm interested to see where this goes because if In Dreams is known for anything, it's creativity in a space that um, rewards you for being creative, right? The VR gaming landscape rewards you for doing things that are different. The developers are still to this day learning how to break the mold of conventional gaming to fully take advantage of the limitless possibilities of the VR platform. And nDreams really has done a better job of that than anyone. Because I mean, especially with their last couple of games, I mean, you talk about different, man. These games are different.
Yeah, absolutely, and amazing.
PD in the chat says, you know who else likes games as a service?
My
Mhm.
mom!
Oh.
Anyway, headline, and this is our final headline of the week. Become a knight with the Population 1 Kingdom Age update this week. So, this I find very interesting, Roots, because we've noticed, and I'm sure many other people have noticed in the various different communities across the VR landscape, a diminished interest in Population One. Not that it's not a great game still, but people are playing other stuff now, man. People are starting to right around the time that they went seasonal and started changing up the rules and changing up the map every month. People kind of stopped paying attention to this one. And the way that they've decided to deal with this isn't by going back to a more conventional approach, but rather getting rid of the paid model. So all of that cosmetic stuff that you could subscribe to before, they're putting that on hold for a little while, and they're building a castle in the middle of this shooter game, complete with an Excalibur sword that you can strike down your enemies with. Roots, are you buying into this, or are you selling?
I feel like it's more of the same. Like it's they decided to change things up by putting more different skins in there. Like, you know what I mean? Like more different environment, which is what they did, getting away from the unconventional. And I don't think the problem was buying the skins or the paying for stuff. I just think the thing is that there's no balance, man. That's why I stopped playing for the most part. Is like when you go into a game and you're constantly getting your ass whipped because by the same group of elite people over and over again. It just gets old, and I feel like a lot of people felt that way. And that's one of the best things about Fortnite is like it's got such a good system where you go in and you're new, you're going to be playing against new people that don't know what they're doing, or they're on a Smurf account and they're still going to kick your ass, but at least they're going through the steps of having to create a new character to do it. So I think that's part of the problem, more of a problem than anything, is just balancing the games a little bit better. But it's been so long since I've been in there. I haven't, I kind of burned myself out a little bit, but I mean, if I'm truthful, it's just, you want to feel like you're at least doing somewhat decent instead of getting your ass handed to you every 5 seconds. And a lot of things, everything's changing, man. Every time I turn around, there's a new grenade or a new this or new that. I don't know what the rules are anymore. Like, it's just too much.
I think that's the thing. There's no stability in it, right? People can't settle in it with the constant change. And to be honest, I haven't played a lot of this game just because I'm not a big competitive multiplayer guy. Uh, but up until now, all of the maps, all of the different rule sets that they've enabled, it's all seemed like pretty cool stuff to me until now. This kind of reeks of desperation to me. It seems like the girlfriend that you kind of stop showing interest in, so she goes and cuts all her hair off and dyes it, gets an orange spray tan and all new crazy looking clothes and tries to get your attention. That's what this feels like to me. It's like, baby, we need to go out and do something. We never go out anymore. Yeah, I'm sorry, but I don't think Excalibur is the thing that's going to bring me back in.
I don't think so either. I mean, it just doesn't seem. It just seems like I said, more of the same. And and like Wolveraza was saying, people are running into full teams of 55 and above, which is top level, and that only play with each other because they're cliquish, and then they slaughter. So they do need a bracket as well. But I think that was the last time I went in, I had gone in for the Old West thing. And they had already changed the rules before. And so when I went into the Old West, everything was changed again. And I was like, well, where's this? Oh, they got rid of that. Well, this is this. And I'm old, bro. I can't be like changing shit all the time.
I feel like there's a good time to be had in that game still, but I feel like it's all private lobbies from here on out. If you want to have fun, you got to bring your own crew, right?
Right.
Luckily, we're in a position that we can do that if we want to, but a lot of people aren't.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely difficult even just to get somebody to group up. That's the position I was at before I did the podcast. It was like, I want to do multiplayer, but I don't know anybody.
So with that said, if you're that type of person who needs to crew up with some people and you don't have enough friends in VR to do that, Virtual Strangers Discord is home for the hardcore VR gaming enthusiast. There's an invitation in the description down below. There's people in there that will play with you, bro.
Yeah, just don't ask in a weird way or expect at a weird time. Somebody asked a while back for some game, I don't even remember what it was, for me to play, and I felt bad because I was in a weird time, and then I never heard from this person again. I feel like I slighted them. Not that I wouldn't have played with them, I just didn't have time.
Right. It was just not the right time, bro.
Yeah.
Boy Brown in chat says, play Larcenauts instead. The patches have addressed a lot of the launch problems. We're going to play Larcenauts probably this week, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But you know what's not going to happen for me in Larcenauts? I will not be using the Sandlucky gun stock because I was playing Everslaught earlier and my thing flew out of my my magnet, and I heard it hit something and it broke the ring. That's how action-packed that game was. So I'm kind of out of the game for the Sandlucky thing without my right. It's my right one too. Now I don't have a right magnet. So it kind of sucks.
Well, I could send you the one back.
No,
unless our boy Mash Daddy can get on that and get us another one sent out to you.
Yeah, Mash. I'll work on that. No, if you could, Mash. If not, I mean, it's been so long. I feel bad. I want to do the review though. That's the thing. But I don't know how it flew out, Wes. I mean, it's been wedged in there, and it just went flying, bro. I'm glad there was nobody in here to get hit.
Yeah, well, I use as a preventative measure. I use these
zip ties,
teeny tiny little zip ties. It just takes 2 of them, and you have that protection in there. So that that won't happen.
Yeah, well, and the thing is it's too late now. You're like somebody that's telling me how to keep a girlfriend from cheating on me, and it's already happened, bro.
Right. Right. Anyway, that wraps up the week's headlines and gets us into the meat. This is what everybody showed up for, Roots, the main event. And we have 5 awesome games to talk about. But as I mentioned at the top, it isn't all going to just be news this week. Our first couple of entries into the gaming segment this week is actually going to be impressions I mean, it's kind of going to be both. We're going to do a little news, a little impressions, but it's all going to work out. It's going to be a fun discussion.
Yeah.
Wolveraz in the chat says, "Oh no!"
It sucked, dude.
Yeah.
As soon as I
when you
heard
said
it,
Everslaught, as soon as you said Everslaught, I said, "Oh."
yeah, because there's so many guys coming at you, man, and you're just.
You know who loves it when there's so many guys coming at you?
Oh
Roots?
God.
My mom!
Yeah, she does, man. That's crazy.
Wolveraz in the chat says, "I still play random and take invites and pop. We'll get a few wins per session, but it's also situational. And if you can get a team to work together correctly, yeah, that's kind of the story for a lot of people in that game."
Actually, I have an inside. I've got some people that are good. Like all I'd have to do is like group up with Messi and who was that other dude that can't remember his name now, man. That was really I don't know. It was cool. He was cool, man. Oh, Mash says he's got an
Matt,
extra one, right?
there you go, man. Ask and you shall receive, right?
All right. Well, I appreciate that. I just need the right one. I got the left one still. It's just, man, I don't even know how. It's weird how light those controllers are now without the magnet. 'Cause I took the left one out. I was like, what's the point of keeping that one in there? Now I feel like I'm not even holding controllers in my hand.
Yeah, and what a time to break it too, right? When Sniper Elite adds support for it, and you break it.
Yeah, it sucked, but it could have been worse. It could have flew into my gaming 144 hertz monitor.
Oh God. Get you some zip ties, bro.
Mhm.
Don't risk it. It's not worth it.
It's not worth it.
Oh, Delirium Drew VR says Messi was fighting an Oculus man. Did you hear about that, Roots?
I did not hear about that actually. The last time this is the thing, man, Messi, and if you're out there, bro, like he'll stop by my stream and he'll say, "Dude, I miss you, Roots," and then he'll leave, and I'm like, "Well, I'm here, bro. I'm streaming. Hang out with me. If you miss me, bro, hang out. Don't come in and tell me you miss me and then leave 2 seconds later, because that doesn't sound like that miss. It means I'm on your mind. Is what it sounds like."
Yeah, I'm notoriously horrible for. I don't like talking on the phone. I'll go years without calling people in my family just because I don't make small talk. I'm not the type of person who talks about the weather and shit, you know. And I know some people take it personally, and others over the years have kind of learned how I am and don't. But I could only imagine if I just decided to call my grandmother up out of the blue and go, "Hey, Mama, I really just wanted to call and say I miss you. Bye." You know what I mean?
I miss you. I miss Messi, bro. Like, Messi, come hang out at my stream for a couple minutes. I miss you, bro. But I did not hear that. I'll have to find that out. I'll have to message him and see what's up with that. That sucks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you got people making videos of you bullying people, this can happen, right?
Yeah. People suck sometimes.
Overall, it says, "Dude, I totally miss you."
Well, you're still here. I believe it, Wolveraz. I believe you, bro.
Exactly. Anyway, let's talk some VR, Roots, and let's talk about the game we were supposed to talk about yesterday. Actually, we were supposed to talk about before yesterday, but shit happens. Ven VR Adventure, third-person VR platformer, Ven VR Adventure, which launched on PCVR in holiday 2020, now set for an August 12th release date on Oculus Quest. Much like Astrobot Rescue Mission, you're tasked with guiding Ven on his journey from a third-person perspective, but you're also present in the world as well. Ven sets off to save his fellow pals, the Ikai, all of whom have been scattered across the planet by invaders. As you track the game's chief villain, Bruce Nelson, you'll save the little Ikai from machines and deadly enemies as you maneuver around traps and other various dangers. The game will launch on Oculus Quest Store for $30 and will support cross-buy at launch. And I have been able to confirm that there are still plans to bring the game to PlayStation VR, although there's no approximate time frame at the moment. Roots, as I was kind of going back and forth with their community manager over there at Monologic, last week, I was noticing that they weren't mentioning cross-buy in a lot of their promo material. And generally, when you see a game that isn't talking about cross-buy, there's only one reason for that, right? It's because it doesn't support cross-buy. So, like, I wrote this big long email to them about why I think it's a mistake that they're not doing cross-buy, and how people aren't going to buy their game if they've already paid $30 for it once. That they need to reconsider, even if it means doing a discount instead of doing like a full free cross-buy, because you can do that. I found out you can do that because there's another game, Star Trek Bridge Crew does that.
Oh, really?
But anyway, I wrote this big long page about how they're screwing up by not by not supporting cross-buy, and they responded to me right away like, "Bro, we're doing cross-buy. If they bought it, that they don't have to buy it again." I felt like such an ass.
So why did it? I guess why was that not apparent? Is it just something they just didn't stress? I guess.
Yeah, either maybe they mentioned it and I just didn't see it, or maybe they're just not using it as a selling point like some of the other studios do. But I'm here to tell you 100% confirmed. Ven VR Adventure does support cross-buy. If you own it on Rift, you'll get it on Quest. If you buy it on Quest, you'll get it on Rift. Um, which I don't know necessarily that you need it, Roots, because playing this game on Oculus Quest 2, as you can see from the footage here, there's only about this much difference, right?
Yeah, dude, I was blown away. I was blown away because okay, so this is how blown away I was. When I played at West, I only had access to the demo, which is the first and the fourth level, and I didn't know I had to reinstall it. I went and played it on the PCVR version after I played those two levels because I needed more Ven. You know what I mean? I was like, damn it, I can only play these two levels, and I was blown away by the graphics and the shadows. I mean, look at the Quest. It's kind of messed up the way that it's hidden behind our windows, but the Quest 2 is on the right, the PCVR is on the left, and like you said, there is little to no difference at all. When I played it, I couldn't tell any difference unless I'm looking at them side by side. And Wes, I'm ashamed to say I didn't pick the hard mode. After all that we talked about, I picked the normal mode with the normal amount of notes and everything.
Yeah, I did the same thing, and I think you can change it on the fly. But I said, well, let's go with normal, because I remember this game being super challenging, right? But what I forgot was it's later in the game when it gets really challenging. These early levels are, level 4, the second demo level that they gave us. That's where the game starts to get a little bit challenging. The first 3 are just kind of, getting a feel for the game, eye candy, if you will. But at level 4, the game starts to pick up some challenge. And by the time I got to level 4, though, I had like close to like 80 or 90 lives built up.
Oh God.
Now, if I remember correctly, I'll burn right through those when I get to the right level. I'll just die over and over again. But yeah, I like you. I feel like I probably should have picked the hard mode.
Yeah, no, I'll tell you what, I guarantee we won't feel that way when it's all said and done, because there's those levels where, like you said, you just keep dying over and over again. And then the next thing you know, you're having to go back through old levels just to get notes to get your lives back. And that's exactly why I wussed out, because I remember that. But the good thing I will say about this is it's the same amazing gameplay. And that's what we fell in love with, right? I mean, it wasn't just how good it looked, it was how fast paced and how amazing the gameplay is.
Now they have edited the levels a little bit, not for the standalone version, but after they released the original PC version, a lot of people complained about it being too hard. So they did redesign certain parts of certain levels, and obviously, I'm one that enjoys a challenge. I like the levels the way they were before, but I get why they did it. With that said, the thing that I was really afraid that they were going to do, thank God they didn't do. Because if you'll remember, Roots, they were talking about completely changing how the camera works in this game
Yep.
and having it so that the player has full control of the camera to follow Ven around everywhere. And we always maintained that the player perspective in this game is what makes the gameplay. If you change that, it's not the same game. And I'm happy to say, Roots, that I had a conversation with Monologic earlier today about this specific topic, and they have seen the light, Roots, and they agree that that would change the game too drastically. And that notion is a thing of the past now. What the game is now is what the game is always going to be.
You know what's cool about the changes that they did make? Now you can go backwards in the game. Like you know what I mean? You're not stuck, so you can like go forward, backwards. You can explore. It's just I like it, and it definitely. Onakazi was asking. He said, you know, we were concerned about dumbing it down. The complaints, did they thread that needle? And I'm assuming what you just said, they did thread that needle as far as the changes. Because I agree. I did not seem or feel like even the earlier levels were super easy, and I didn't even get to the hard stuff yet.
Yeah, I do have a suggestion though, because I did like the old ultra difficult levels that they had originally developed, and I'm sure that they still have those levels on a hard drive somewhere in their studio. I have a suggestion. So if you're still watching Monologic, or if you're watching this tomorrow, this is what I would like. If I had my choice in a perfect world, if the player can beat the game on hard mode, so start to finish on the hardest difficulty setting, I would love it if that would unlock a new game plus. And the new game plus is the original level layout from the original Ven release on PC, with all of the sections off to the sides where you really get far away from the camera, and there's really ultra difficult timing based areas. I would love to be able to earn access to that version again by completing the finished product on the hard difficulty.
That's a
So
really good
that,
idea. I think
yeah,
oh, go ahead.
and what a way to give the game more replayability. Not that it isn't already like infinitely replayable, but I mean that would give people who really got hooked on this game reason to play through it an entire second time, because the levels will have changed a little bit, right?
Absolutely. And you could call it the virtual strangers mode.
Right, the strangers
The
mode. I
strangers
like
mode.
that.
Yeah. You know, who was it? Sar said, Soren, I guess. You know who else loves the hard mode?
My mom!
Oh, yeah. The harder, the
You,
better.
you know who else has a Soren, Roots?
My mom!
Oh, I didn't know that, man.
Anyway, there aren't a lot of games on Quest 2, and we talk about it. We talked about it at the top of the episode that these developers are getting better, or developing around the hardware of the Quest 2. But I don't know if I've ever seen a game this close to the PC version. I mean, they're coming at this thing with dynamic shadows. I mean, they've got like tons of bloom effect. They've even like managed to salvage most of the particle effects in the Quest 2 version. I mean, you're really hard pressed to find any differences. It does have a little bit of a different look to it, because I think the means of global illumination is a little bit different. So like the Quest version has a little bit of a brighter, more colorful look to it, whereas the PC version, it seems like it has more like natural light to it. It seems more like real sunlight in the PC version. But I'm really just nitpicking to find any differences in it at all. I mean, even like the texture resolution is very, very similar and hard to discern any kind of difference in it.
Yeah, this is the only platformer that I know of like this. This type of platformer. Obviously, Trover would be a platformer on the Quest 2, and the good news is it's one of the best ones as well. So it's not like you're, oh, I'm slumming it with Ven VR on the Quest because that's all I can play. No, you're getting to play one of the best platformers out there on your Quest 2, and the good news is it doesn't even look much different at all. Gameplay is 100% the same, and I definitely recommend it at $30, and it's cross-buy. So if you already have it from the the Rift, you're already going to be owning this on day one for free. So how amazing is that?
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. And the uh, the Monologic joining us in chat says, very good idea with the virtual strangers mode. They actually are creating bonus levels for hardcore players. So we're going to get that challenge. If we can manage to even make it through the game on hard mode, we're going to get some additional challenging levels.
Yeah, you said your wife played through and beat the whole game, right? On the PCVR version. She said in the
Yeah,
chat she's looking forward to playing the full Quest version again.
yeah, she played it on my Quest before I even picked it up. Like she loves this game, and as do I, and everyone I've talked to that have played it. And I was saying it earlier, when it comes to pure platforming. Now you mentioned Trover. Trover's not a pure platforming. It's kind
Mm-mm.
of a platformer hack and slash comedy game. When it comes to pure platformers in VR, really the only other game that's on this level is Astrobot.
Mm-hmm.
It's a party of two. It's this game and Astrobot, and nothing on Quest or PC, in my opinion, is on this level. And they've accurately reproduced it on the Oculus Quest. Now I don't know what it's going to look like on Quest One, but I got to imagine you know that it looks quite good on that one as well. Although it might not have the dynamic shadows and a lot of the other little bells and whistles that we enjoy on the newer version of the Quest.
Yeah, it'd be like the last couple weeks of Roots' background for streaming. It'd be the equivalent of what's going on there. They're going to take out the shadowing and a couple of things, but still the gameplay is going to be amazing. And I don't think anybody on the Quest is going to be bummed out that they're playing Ven VR. They're not having as good of an experience as the Quest 2 for sure, but it's definitely
Well,
amazing.
they know what they're doing, right? Like uh, I can't speak for everyone, but I got to imagine that there's other people out there like me that we could play hundreds of VR games, but it's the same basic stuff that really gets me every time. If you throw a bunch of bloom at me and a bunch of particle effects, I never cease to say wow.
Yeah, yeah, because you're
And
in there.
that isn't lost on these guys here because this game is full of it.
Yeah, it's absolutely full of it. And it's full of amazing gameplay. And we've said this on the PCVR version. What makes this game good is at least for me, any platformer is designed to be gone through fast. You can go through slow, but if you run through fast, it's going to be the easiest mode. You just have to have the reflexes to do it. And that I got caught again by that guy, Wes, that one that throws the hat out at you. And
Yeah.
I felt very dirty because I shouldn't get caught by him anymore. He's an old enemy to me. But
Well, that's the cool thing about this. If you like playing platformers to that level, when you like the repetition and speed running aspect of it, there's a speed running mode complete with leaderboards. Like it isn't like just your average everyday like platformer and that's it. That they put stuff like that in there to bring you back in. And I don't know if you've noticed it, but there are some very nicely hidden shortcuts in this game. So you'll come into a room that has this very obvious long winding path up and down and all around. But if you pay attention to like the walls and stuff, there'll be a brick sticking out here that if you hit it just right, you can skip a whole section of the map and get to the other side really quickly. I'm sure that stuff's put in there intentionally for the speedrunners.
yeah,
And it always makes me feel good to find that stuff. Generally, what I do to make it more challenging is I'll take the shortcut and then I'll work my way backwards to get all the little runes and Ikai.
that's the beauty of the new way that they do it now, right? You can go backwards, which is cool. Wolveraza says a good thing about this over Trover as well is you can actually let your kids play it, which is absolutely true. And what you said, Wes, is really the bulk of it. This is a traditional platformer. This is a Mario type of game. This is an Astrobot type of game, and it's amazing. So
Yeah, yeah, it is amazing, and it's a must own in my opinion. If any of you out there, if there's any of you who haven't played this game yet, it comes out in 4 days on the Oculus Quest store, cross-buy enabled for $30. And oftentimes when games launch for $30, you'll hear Roots get on here and myself and be a little wishy-washy about the price and say, well, maybe it should have been 20 or maybe it should have been 25. $30 all day for this. Like this is uncommon quality with regards to games on the Quest Library. There's nothing else on the Quest Library like this. Not only in terms of genre, but in terms of quality. There aren't very many games that this high quality, this close to a PCVR game on your standalone. And furthermore, this is a game that you know, people who are new to VR are going to know how to play this immediately. I mean, everybody's played Mario, right? We know how to play platformers. So if you need a good demo title to put your sister in, or you know, or your friend who's never played VR before, this is perfect. They're not going to get sick. They're going to know exactly how to play it, and they're going to be blown away by how beautiful it is and how fun it is.
It's gonna blow them away. And that's it. Traveling Man wants to know if there's any future content planned for it. I mean, they did just say that they're planning on some stuff for the hardcore players, some bonus levels, that type of stuff. I don't know about any.
And there's going to be the upcoming Virtual Strangers mode.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah. Well, we got our endorsement as well on the commercial. So
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, I don't know what else we could say about this game that we haven't already. We've covered the PC game at length on multiple occasions. Um, and this game is nearly identical on Quest to the PC version. So I kind of think that says it all.
yeah, I would say the only way you don't like this game is if you come into it saying, I don't like platformers. I really don't like platformers. Then you're not going to like it. It's a platformer. But if you like platformers, you're going to love it. I guarantee.
Now, it has been a while since I played the PC version, and I felt like when I got in here going through the levels that, and I might be wrong about this, but it felt like maybe they had reordered the levels. Like there were a couple of them that seemed like maybe they were swapped around. Like the level that I remember being level 1 is now level 2, and the level that I remember being level 2 is now level 1. Now, I could just be faulty memory on my part. But it seems like maybe they switched things around a little bit.
Huh. Well, if they did, I didn't notice it, but that doesn't mean anything really.
No, I feel like as long as they're all in there, then they're all in there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Monologic Game says there's a lot of shortcuts in there. We hope after Quest releases, players will find them. Well, now you're putting the challenge out there, Monologic Games. Find the hidden levels and then let the virtual strangers know in the comments which ones you found.
Yeah, there are some ways that you can just skip right through this thing if you're eagle-eyed, right? And you're thinking in that way. It's really cool because there's a lot of freedom in the map. Like, you know, a lot of games, you'll see areas off to the side and you'll feel like I can't go over there because the game won't let me. There's going to be an invisible wall or something that stops me from going over there. You know, whenever I try to climb on top of something in this game, I can get on top of it. Like, you know, once I get up there, there's nothing for me to do with it, but it's cool that I can do it if I want to, right?
Yeah, there's nothing worse than feeling restricted, you know, like even if I was watching somebody play that New World beginning of the game, Asmongold or whatever his name is, and like he'd try to go certain ways off a path and you can't move, right? And it just feels, it's like I should be able to go over there. I mean, if there's a wall there, you can't go there. But if it's clear, why am I running into an invisible wall? I don't like that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it reminds me of what was that game we played recently? The Atlantis. That Atlantis game had a bunch of stuff like that in it, and you would literally get wedged into the invisible wall and get stuck.
Yeah, or you'd have stuff not be there. But that's crazy.
Right. Anyway, I can't recommend it enough. Stay tuned. I'm sure we'll do some more coverage on this after it releases. We'll put another gameplay out or something. But it's top notch. I recommend all day on both of our parts for $30 here, and absolutely amazing that it's cross-buy. So you're getting 2 games for $30.
Yeah, you don't even have to choose whether you want to play the PCVR version or Quest 2 version. You can play both. So
Absolutely. But you know, speaking of PCVR roots, a lot of people, you know, it's periodic, right? People like to herald the death of PCVR an
it's dead.
awful lot. But we didn't hear much of it last week. We heard a lot of people mentioning how PCVR isn't dead because everyone who has PCVR was playing Everslaught. And Everslaught is a game from developer Mob X, which recently dropped into Steam Early Access this past week, selling over 1,000 copies on launch day and garnering over 100 mostly positive reviews. This game is a fast-paced hack and slash style action game with a heavy focus on looting and progression. With no real comfort options to speak of, Everslaught is unapologetically geared toward experienced VR gamers. Again, Everslaught is $20 on Steam and will remain in early access for well over a year with much more content yet to come. And I feel like we need to preface this discussion about Everslaught with the disclaimer. We are talking about this game in the context of early access. Like, I was blown away by this game. It's the level of polish, the smoothness to the gameplay, the comfort despite it's comfortable chaos, right? We've pulled that phrase out for a few games. I think it accurately describes this game. This game gets crazy, but you never really quite feel uncomfortable playing it. Really, the only thing that hinders this game is the fact that it's in early access and it needs more content and variety. But what is here is as polished as it can be and just so fun and so replayable, or at least that's how I feel about it.
Wow. Well, absolutely. And before we get started on that, I guess we didn't thank Monologic Games for access to the game or Everslot, which is we really appreciate it. And Monologic Games says it's no problem at all. So.
Oh yeah, where are my manners? Thank you, Monologue. I thank them so profusely off the air that that it didn't even occur to me to thank them publicly. We did receive review access to the Ven VR adventure as well as Everslot. So thank you, Monologic. Thank you, MobX, for allowing us access before launch to these amazing titles.
Absolutely. And you know what I was blown away with, Wes? Even though you warned me, I went through the beginning part of the game and I thought I was like in the game. I said, okay, I got a weapon. Wes said I had to get a weapon. He warned me. He said, look, you're not like playing the actual game until you get to where the weapons are. And which is what you're showing here, where you can hang up the weapons and stuff. And so I played for, I don't know, 30 minutes or something, man. And it's like, man, these enemies are cool, but they're, one-on-one. They're not swarming me. They're not really coming at me too much. And then I get to where this part is, and then it has you jump in the actual dungeon, and then everything's different, dude. Because it's what I think that they do so well about this is the movement and the multiple ways of fighting, right? The way that you're so basically everything is based on blood as far as like a lot of the things you do. You heal yourself with blood. What else do you do with the blood? You do some other things, right? I'm losing my mind.
Yeah, you use it as ammunition in your gun.
Oh, that's right.
Your shotgun.
Yeah, so as the gun, and so you're collecting it basically as you're attacking all these enemies. You're constantly getting blood, and so it's not infinite, right? So you can't just willy-nilly. I could totally see Wes conserving and using it to its fullest extent. But there's enemies that like you see them out there and you immediately want to hit these ones with the gun. And for me, it's the bow and arrows or like the bigger guys. But the coolest part, Wes, is the fact that you can jump and dash. And what I love to do is jump forward, leap at them, and then come down with a slam as I'm hitting in the air. I just feel like the movement, it fits the chaos so well. It gives you so many options to attack and counterattack and shoot, and you're healing and you're jumping backwards and dashing all over the place. It's everything you need for a game like this, and it's everything that developers have been scared to put into a game like this because of movement and people getting sick. And I give kudos to these devs for saying screw it. We're going to make a game for the enthusiast, and most people probably won't get sick. At least I don't know. It didn't seem like it to me. So.
Well, I don't know if you were paying attention to YouTube when this game launched, but everybody was playing this game and everybody was loving it.
Mm,
And it made me feel good because we were among the first people to cover this game like 2 months ago. We covered it at the beginning of June. And we asked the question during that episode. Uh, we stated that MobX is kind of gambling on the idea that there's enough hardcore PC gamers out there that they're going to be successful putting out a game that's just for hardcore PC gamers. And I asked you the question, do you think that they're right? Do you think that they're going to actually be able to succeed at it? And you said yes. And it seems as if it's playing out just as you thought it would, man. People are loving this game. Everyone's buying it up. Everybody kind of thinks it's a bargain at $20.
it is.
Um, but it is an early access game, and I've played it quite a lot actually, and I found myself wanting more. I want more environments. I want more enemies. I want more. Period. As beautiful as the game is, and it is stunning in my HP Reverb G2, and it plays perfectly. Never crashed once. Um, and it doesn't officially support WMR. Like it's not even listed, but it does support WMR. And what I mean by that is I can play it on my Reverb without even launching SteamVR.
Hmm.
It runs natively in WMR software. Like it natively supports WMR, even though it doesn't like claim to. Um, anyway, I found myself uh, wanting more with regards to everything, and uh, it, uh, the initial level, the outside map, which is pretty long and sprawling, I found that to be my favorite map so far. Like I wish that more of the internal dungeons had that external layout because it seems so much bigger, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, you're going through a dungeon. Everything's kind of a little bit contained. But I didn't go as far as you did. I mean, I thought I was an hour, 45 minutes to an hour is surely enough going to be able to get through the first dungeon. And then I noticed that showtime was creeping up on me and I had to get out. But I was impressed with everything I played. I thought it was cool that you can upgrade your weapons. So many different weapons. You're finding chests all over the place. Your durability on the weapon. I don't know if they break. I haven't encountered that, but you can grind them up on that thing in this main area to get it back to 100. I thought that was pretty cool, and the glove is super cool as well. The only thing that we always say this, but how cool would this game be if I was in there with you, Wes, as a multiplayer? It's almost like it's designed to be like it would be amazing, right?
Yeah, dude. Like, if you had, I mean, it makes me want to go play the Serious Sam multiplayer, to be honest, because it's that same kind of frenetic pace to it, where like, it's there's so many enemies coming at you at once that it's hard to get your bearings, and the way I had to deal with it when you get into one of those rooms toward the end of the level, I pretty much have to stick with my back to the wall. Otherwise, they're going to kill me. Now, with that said, after I kind of got a feel for the game, I didn't find it to be the most challenging thing in the world. It was fun to play and it felt good to play it. But I only died like a time or two at the very beginning of getting used to playing it. It's been a long time since I actually got killed playing this game.
Yeah, there's a lot of options for running around, dashing. You can be healing with the blood, right? You're shooting the people, you're keeping them away from that in that perspective as well. And then not to mention the grappling hook. You got those bronze things, heads or whatever. You can zip yourself around. Like you said, once you get yourself really uh, acclimated to movement, it definitely, they could probably ramp up the enemies a little bit. Although, man, like you said, they will swarm you. And if you get in the big middle of a room and you're running around and you're slashing stuff and you're flinging your Sandlockie magnet across the room, don't assume that there's not somebody right behind you hitting you. You know what I mean? Like because they're coming from every direction. There's no holding punches. You're not going at one direction and kind of like Ninja Legends where you've got the front and the sides. It's every direction, and it's fast paced, and it's not just at least for me so far. It's a good mix of enemies as far as not just the same type. You've got the bow and arrow guy, you got the main big guy, plus the other little guys. But I totally believe you that that there probably needs to be more as far. And I'm assuming that they're planning on adding more, right? Since it's early
Yeah,
access.
yeah. That's what the purpose of the early access is. Actually, you can tell that the game doesn't need a whole lot in terms of polish. Like they've polished it out. It just needs more content, and I think that that's the entire purpose of the early access period.
Yeah. Well, they nailed everything I played. I mean, the gameplay is amazing, the movement's amazing, and it's doing things a lot of games are afraid to do. So definitely give kudos to the devs for that. And it's
Yeah,
satisfying. Look, you can zip yourself from them with the thing, and I can't tell you as you're slashing stuff to try to build your bullets, and you're turning, and there's a bow and arrow guy ready to shoot you in the face, and you get to shoot him in the face first. Ah, I felt so good, Wes.
yeah. It's got a great attitude to it. Like you're literally it feels like playing old school Doom. Like you're going through it and really just slicing through these enemies, uh, and and you're collecting blood. Like the whole point of the game is to collect as much blood as you can. That's how you progress. It's not only your life and it's not only ammunition for your weapon, but if you want to level your character up, um, you have to collect blood. And it's cool because it's very detailed, the progression system. I don't know if you got far enough to mess with any of that, but you sacrifice the blood that you collect to the big face thing, and it unlocks character points for you to apply to your character to unlock abilities. And there are three different uh, categories that you can apply your points to, and depending on which one you pick, you'll gain new abilities, such as you'll gain the ability to collect more blood, for example, or you'll gain a higher damage with the sword, or a higher damage with the grappling hook. Which, by the way, the grappling hook isn't just for you to move around. You can also use it as a weapon. You can grow your health bar. There's tons of different ways that you can progress your character in it, and that's really what keeps you coming back. Even though the levels are kind of repetitive, you are kind of fighting the same enemies, and it is a kind of easy. It's fun to do, and you're constantly progressing your character and progressing your weapons, unlocking new weapons. It's really fun in the state that it is in.
Wolveraza says it seems like a unique kind of roguelite, and I totally agree. And Traveling Man is curious: will there be a story campaign, or will it be more like In Death Unchained?
I think it's going to be more like in Death Unchained. Now they have said that they're going to add more story sequences into it, but I do think that in general it's going to be more of a backstory, just kind of explaining your situation that you're in here.
Yeah,
I don't think that it's going to be something that they're going to hire a bunch of actors and do motion capture for.
absolutely. Did you? Let me ask you this: did you notice that like you can drag your sword along the wall or along the ground, and it'll spark? And you can like
Yeah.
feel I thought that was super cool because I did it by accident. I was like, oh my God, I can drag my sword along this. Who doesn't want to drag their sword on a wall, bro? Like I've been dreaming about that for years. And Wolveraza wants to know if upgrades reset each run or do you keep them?
No, you keep your upgrades, but with that said, I'm talking about your character upgrades. Now your weapon upgrades, um, you can keep them as long as you keep your sword, but if you die in the level, you lose what you're carrying.
Mm.
Now, with that said, you have kind of like a weapons room that you can build up an arsenal, and you don't always take everything in with you when you go into the dungeon. You always, select carefully what you take in, because you know you might not come back out, and
Ooh,
you want to have something left for the next run.
I did not think that way at all, Wes. But thank God I didn't die in there because I didn't have enough time spent. But yeah, that's a good thing to know. I don't want to get myself screwed. I did fling my sword a couple times. That's kind of chaotic when you're in the middle of a battle, right? And all of a sudden your
Yeah.
sword goes flying and you're like, oh crap, I got my hand.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot that I can criticize about what's here. There are a few nitpicks, though. I would like for there to be a bit more back and forth with regards to the enemies that have weapons, because some enemies you do engage in melee combat with. Some enemies have armor, but there's no or there isn't much rather attack counterattack. There's no parrying. Like you can't use your sword to block attacks.
Hmm.
I'd like it if you could, because you can kind of still get away with a little bit of waggle in this game, and I feel like VR Melee has kind of moved past that. But this is it kind of the Melee kind of plays like a Gen 1 Melee game.
Mm,
Um, Beyond that, uh, again, a lot of the stuff I'm talking about here, again, is stuff that's indicative of Gen 1 games as opposed to today's games. Like if you take yeah, you can drag your sword across the wall and hear it grind and spark, but if you smack the wall with your sword, it's not going to clang. Like it'll just go through it. Um, there's candles and fires everywhere, but never once do you hear anything burning. Stuff like that. I feel like there's little bits of opportunities to help build the immersion here. But with regards to the gameplay specifically,
mm.
I would like a little bit more back and forth, a little more ability to block with your sword and counterattack. But again, it's a really small thing because it's the pacing is what makes the game, and you don't want to really slow it down too much.
Yeah, absolutely. Wolveraza says you had a super OG pull there where you uh did a grappling hook into the guy and killed him and the other guy at the same time. It was
Yeah,
badass, bro. It's like a
yeah, dude.
ninja.
That's one of my favorite things to do is you can grapple hook into the enemies and it'll fling you toward them. I like to do that and then like hit them as I get to them. And the way this thing works, you can combo these guys pretty easily. Like hit them 2 and 3 times, like really quickly, depending on how you swing your sword. And you could kill the first enemy like that by grappling to them and hitting them like with a 3-hit combo really quickly.
Yeah.
And super fun.
Yeah, everything about it, the gameplay, the shotgun, man, shooting the 3 or 4 enemies, man. It's very satisfying to have feel overwhelmed by enemies and being able to controlly kill them. You know what I mean? You're not
Yeah,
overwhelmed, but you feel overwhelmed, but you're owning them, so you feel like you're badass. So
right.
that's cool.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, I just hope that it doesn't take them too long. Like I want more of this game. I want a proper expansion of it. I want variable environments. It wouldn't take much, right? Another 2 or 3 levels, maybe double the enemy count in the game,
Yep.
and give us a couple of boss fights, and that's it, man. That's all you need.
Yeah, yeah. The progression already has enough to pull you back in. So just keep adding on to it, and you got a hit here, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And you talk about a game that won't run on Quest. You'll never see this game on Oculus Quest.
No, $20, dude. What a steal, right? So,
Yeah, it was actually 17 for a little while. It had a launch discount with it. But that's over now. It's a full $20, but it's still a big recommend from me for that. Even if the game never gets another update, it's worth $20.
yeah, absolutely.
Onakazi, Dev needs to add a damage bonus for the grappling hook kit. You can progress your character in a way to get to strengthen the damage from grappling hook attacks. So that's one of the things in the character progression of the game.
Oh, you're sacrificing right there, bro. I never got to do that. That's cool. So
Yeah,
it's all
this is
about your
this is
glove, huh? Stick your
yeah, this
glove.
is how you level up your character. You stick your glove in this thing, and it takes your blood, which is kind of like XP that you gather through the level, and then you get to select where you want to put your character points at for each level.
Oh, how cool.
And yeah, it's really detailed actually for an arcade style game. The progression is actually quite detailed.
Cool. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, it was really fun. It's one of the games. Well, I mean, this was the game that got me to stop playing Sniper Elite. If that tells you anything.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Wolveraza must be. He's definitely. That's his favorite game. So Wolveraza, you need to get into this, bro.
Yeah, I recommend it to anyone who has their legs should check this game out.
Yep, it's cool.
Anyway, that will conclude this week's gameplay impressions. Going forward, we're going to go back to doing this kind of thing on the Wednesday night show. But we've kind of had a backlog here where we haven't been making content. We got a lot of games we need to talk about, and I want to have all this stuff cleared by the time Fract launches in a couple of weeks. So we need to get busy on it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, let's get into some news and let's talk about one of my very favorite games, The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. Earlier this year, developer Skydance Interactive revealed that The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners would be getting a big update called Aftershocks in May. As the launch day approached, the studio was forced to indefinitely postpone the launch of the free update, citing technical issues with working on multiple platforms and upgrading to a new engine. Now, as summer begins to wind down, we finally have a launch date for this substantial content update. The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Aftershocks is set to launch on all major VR platforms this September the 23rd. Aftershocks is designed to be an epilogue of sorts, picking up where the main storyline left off. The all new content promises to be multiple hours of gameplay, which will include new missions, threats, and story elements. So, Roots, we got this revelation of the new release date for the Aftershocks campaign. Um, and we also got a few little tidbits of detail with regard to what this thing's going to be. And this content update, which they're giving us for free, really, I mean, it seems like almost a whole new game. There's a lot of content here, not just for a free update, but for I mean, a lot of VR games don't have the content that this free update's going to have.
A lot of VR games don't have the content that the game had to begin with, let alone the extra content. What an amazing! It was already a no-brainer game to own to begin with, but now it's definitely a no-brainer. I can't wait to try it out and get back into this game. I haven't played it really since I pseudo beat it since I nixed the ending. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. The only thing that I'm put off by about this whole thing, and this is personally, September 23rd so far away because I want to hang out with Gamer Chick, and she's still working on this thing. Clearly, her time is precious, and we haven't gotten to see her too much. So
yeah, well, we miss you, Gamer Chick. With that said, she did stop by and hang out with us some yesterday.
That's
so
true.
it was
That's
it was not nice to see Tiffany in the chat again. It's been a while, and we miss you, Tiffany. We hope to see you again here very soon.
Yeah, when this drops, we're gonna be doing all sorts of multiplayer. But yeah, I can't wait to play this.
Anyway, with that said, are you nervous in the least that this game is so far away? They've given us a release date that's 6 weeks, 7 weeks away. Do you feel at all like if this thing was ready that it wouldn't be so far off? Do you think that they're kind of putting all their eggs into one basket and gambling on the fact that they're going to be able to get it finished and it's not actually finished yet?
I hope so. I hope not. I mean, we've already been waiting long enough, right? And I don't want to wait nothing worse than we got to delay it again. So, and it seeming like the whole crazy world thing is ramping back up again a little bit. So that might delay things again. I mean, who knows, man? It does make me a little nervous, Wes. Now that you're making me think about it, it makes me a little nervous.
Yeah, and we're really nervous because we really want to check this out so badly. But anyway, we did get some new details about the campaign. Again, it's going to include new missions, new threats, and new story elements. These new missions will focus on high-level play for those who have built up their survival skills as well as their arsenals. Maps will be remixed with new enemy placements, and there are new kinds of traps like tripwire bombs. Missions will send you after supply caches with loads of resources to bring home, and sometimes enemies are going to find them first and hide them in new areas.
Ooh.
It'll be up to the player to look for clues and to follow the trail to find the lost supplies and whoever took them. As if this all weren't awesome enough already, it appears, Roots, that there's going to be more. Skydance notes that the update is, quote, a small bite of what we have planned for Saints and Sinners, and is in fact only the first taste of new content planned to come for the game. Explore Aftershocks to its fullest, and you may get some more insight into what comes next for both the tourist and all of post-apocalyptic New Orleans. So, Roots, we've kind of been selling this thing as an epilogue. Apparently, this is a prologue.
Oh, wow. So there's a whole new story. I wonder who's going to come out after the tourist, or is it still going to be the tourist? Good question.
I don't know. These are the questions, Roots. And the interesting thing about it is they've set this thing up after the original story campaign to be uh, a loot collection fest. You know, it's missions, it's story missions, but the idea here is that you're bolstering up your supplies. You're
Oh,
going out there and collecting. You're powering yourself up and gathering supplies for what comes
you're
next.
prepping. What are you prepping for?
That's the question. What comes next? Why
Ooh.
do you need all this stuff? These are the questions, and it's going to be a while, but one day we're going to get the answer.
Wow. Well, I can't wait. I've been telling people in the real world, prepping is a good thing these days because things are disappearing, Wes, and it seems like you want to stock up in the game as well.
Yeah, yeah. It's actually it's what's so fun about these type of games. You know, people assume that it's always about the zombies, but you know, even with the regular Walking Dead television show, it's more about the post-apocalyptic stuff than it is the zombies themselves. The zombies are just kind of a bonus for The Walking Dead, and that was true for the show, and it's true for this game as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Traveling Man says he hopes they get in a car at the end and we get to a game on the road to go somewhere else. That'd be cool, right?
Yeah, I think any kind of expansion of the map would be cool because I mean it is a big sprawling map, um, but there's a lot of we were talking a moment ago about areas that you can't go. This game has a lot of that areas where you can't go and you feel like you should be able to. I feel like in my dream VR apocalypse that I'm able to go into every house, and you know most of them aren't going to have shit in them because it's the apocalypse. But I still would like to have the freedom to explore, and I feel like this is a lesson that they're going to take into future games and future content updates.
Yeah, Saints and Sinners 2 open world. That'd be cool.
Open world co-op. Hell
Yeah, dude, that'd be
yes,
badass, dude.
absolutely. Anyway, 6, 7 weeks to go before we get this one. This is what I'm talking about, Roots. We got to get this backlog knocked down because we got Fracked, we've got Lone Echo, and then we've got this. And I got to tell you, before I play Lone Echo, I want to finish Lone Echo, and before I play this, I want to play all the way through the campaign, start to finish
Mm.
again. So,
That's a good streaming
yeah.
thing, Wes.
I'm already way ahead of me on that one, bro. That's absolutely what I'm going to do.
Hell yeah, dude.
Anyway, this is one of my absolute favorite games. I think it's amazing that they're giving it such an update um, for absolutely no extra cost to the people that have purchased the game, and I couldn't be more excited for their tease for future content. The only question is, are they teasing more DLC or are they teasing the sequel? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we'll know soon enough.
Wouldn't it be cool if they had a sequel kind of like I forget which there are a few flat games out there where uh you carry your character and stats onto the sequel.
Well,
Like
Destiny
you're
2 is one of them, or at least
yeah,
some of that, you know?
wouldn't it be cool if this was like one of those games where you're literally stocking up and preparing for the sequel to the game.
That'd be cool.
Absolutely. Anyway, moving on. We've covered Saints and Sinners inside and out, and everyone knows how we feel about it by now. What we haven't covered very much yet, but I'm sure we will, is Moss Book 2. Earlier this month, fans of Parley Art Games' popular puzzle adventure Moss were ecstatic to learn that the game's long-awaited sequel, Moss Book 2, will be coming soon to PlayStation VR. The initial reveal indicated that this new chapter will pick up right where the previous left off. Only this time, Quill will be facing a new, more fearsome enemy. This past week, Road to VR sat down with Polyarch's Josh Stixma to talk about the upcoming title. The interview did, in fact, provide a few new details with regard to the game. Road to VR was able to confirm that the game has been in active development for more than 2 years and will have a much larger scope than the original game. Stixma cites the fact that the team has over doubled in size and that also a lot of the game's work had already been done because this is a sequel. They have that framework to build upon. But while Moss Book 2 is an evolution of an established favorite, it will not be just more of the same. While the core gameplay remains intact, the game will add some new interactions and a sort of progression that will deepen the game's mechanics. This progression will take the form of new weapons that Quill will find throughout her journey, opening new doors, new attacks, new abilities. Stixma wouldn't go as far as saying whether or not Moss Book 2 will launch this year, but he did confirm that it will launch first on PlayStation VR, just as the original did. So, those of you out there who are saying that it's a dead medium, well, at least for a little while, Moss Book 2 is going to be a PlayStation VR exclusive, just like Moss Book 1.
Is that a reason why I should get PlayStation VR 1? Because I can't play
think that is a very good reason to get PSVR 1. This game was absolutely beautiful on PSVR, by the way.
That's an amazing game, and I'm glad that they added more gameplay, more mechanics, right? More weapons, progression. I mean, everything that we keep I keep drumming. I'm like a broken record. I just want the mechanics, the gameplay, the loop, right? And the developers are adding it, right? We got into VR. We did everything that we thought we should do when we got in VR. We climbed around. We looked at our hands. We swung our sword around, and now we want the extra mechanics. And I'm glad Polyarch is giving it to us.
Yeah. What was? Let me ask you, what was everybody's kind of main complaint? Not that there were many, but what did everybody say about Moss that they really would have liked to have had different about that game?
I don't know, man. Maybe that it was more less linear, like you could move around more, have more freedom.
Well, it's interesting you say that. That wasn't what I was going for, but they have mentioned that this game will have more of an open world style to it, so that you're going to have more freedom to go around.
Oh, nice.
What I was referring to is that it was too short. People, you can play through this thing pretty quickly, and they addressed that specifically in this Road to VR article. Not only is this going to be more of a more open world type experience where you get to progress at your own speed, but this is going to be a longer story campaign than the original as well.
You know who else likes to keep it, not have it short? Onakazi says longer, and Space Dennison says length.
My mom!
All of it, all of the above. She likes all of it, Wes.
Yeah, the chat popping off with my mom jokes. Dark Angel coming through with, I wonder who else likes that when things double in size.
My mom!
Oh, yeah.
PD says, you know who else likes it inside and out?
My mom!
Oh, man. She's busy today, bro.
Yes, she is. Anyway, it's from this interview, it seems like everything that we're hoping for is going to come to pass here with this one. This is going to be what any proper sequel should be, and that is an expansion in all areas. The gameplay is going to be more multifaceted. There's going to be more enemies, more puzzle types, more weapons, more freedom in the map, and more story to play through. without them getting too specific, that's basically what this article says. And Roots, it's everything that I wanted to hear with regards to this title.
Yeah, so everything I want to hear with every title that's a sequel. And that's what I said about Lone Echo 2. I don't want more of the same. You know what I mean? Like if you nailed it. If it's a sequel, you need to, it's like the PlayStation 5. They didn't put another version of the PlayStation 4. They upped the thing on every level. And that's what Moss is doing here. Everything you named is an upgrade. And I think it's amazing. And if it's anything like the last one, it's not even going to be that expensive. What, $30 is what it cost before, or was it 30?
Yeah. Yeah,
I
it
would
was 30.
I would imagine it'd be the same. I can't say that for sure, but that was what I would think. So
Well, Verizon say co-op would be neat and another mouse. I could see them doing co-op in this game, but I don't see it being like another mouse. I could see it being asymmetrical so that one player controls the mouse, the other player is, your original role in Moss as that other being there that Quill can see.
it'd be cool if you could be the mouse from inside the mouse's eyes for the
Yeah,
scale, right? Just to switch it, would be pretty
like
cool.
like like Curly and the Reaper Man.
Yeah, or like what's that other game? Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. How they've got a experimental mode that lets you go into the mouse's eyes. That would be cool.
Absolutely. Anyway, it's good to see that these years that have gone by in waiting for this game haven't been put to waste. It appears that we're going to get a proper sequel to this game, and I, for one, can't wait.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, and before we get to the week's reminders, we do have one more game to touch on quickly: Stones of Harlath. Back in early June, developer Garage Collective launched the retro RPG-inspired adventure game Stones of Harlath onto the Oculus Quest platform. Modestly priced at just $10 and providing hours of nostalgic fun, the game was well received by the Quest community, receiving very positive reviews on the Quest store and Game of the Month honors on the Virtual Stranger Show. This past week, we have learned that as of August 19th, this game will no longer be Quest exclusive, as it will arrive on Oculus Link Store and subsequently on Steam the following day. As the game enters the PC marketplace, all versions are set to receive the game's 1.3 update, which will add an entirely new gameplay mode. The Arenas update will bring with it an all-new action-based campaign, which will see the players battle across 4 all-new arenas on their way to the final boss fight. The update will feature new enemies and mini-bosses, as well as new abilities to help the player defeat them. The new single-player mode will come in a free update on all platforms as the game launches on the PC next week, August the 19th. Be sure to click on the bell and the button for our future impressions on the new content for Stones of Harlath. So, Roots, you know, this is completely unexpected and a surprise to me. Not because uh, the studio is not a great studio. Obviously, Garage Collective, Cyril, amazing work that he does and amazing support that he gives his games. But for a $10 game that's already well received on the Quest platform, it's crazy that you would get so much extra content added in, furthering that value proposition. It's just $10, man. And this is a lot of content for $10.
Yeah, we said it before. It was a no-brainer before. Now it's really a no-brainer. But it just shows you how good the devs are, and what it tells me is I will be watching every game they put out. You know what I mean? Like I can't say it. They're writing their resume, and it's a good one. And the game is already amazing, and now they're adding extra to it, and that's really cool.
Yeah, and one of the things I forgot to put in the notes here with this 1.3 update, it's not all just content. There are some other updates to it as well. Notably, one of the only complaints that we had about the game is that the NPCs, the non-playable characters and the sprites in the game are a little bit low res, and they were kind of meant to be, for that nostalgia factor. But I felt like they were a little too low res. I would like to have seen a little bit more detail in them. Well, now you're going to have the option in the menu to turn on higher resolution sprites.
Mm.
So the game's going to look a lot better. And that's not just for PC, that's for the Quest version as well. They didn't just update them because they felt like maybe some people like the lower resolution ones for again, the nostalgia factor. So they didn't want to force it on anybody who's already bought the game and like it as it is. But the option's going to be there. And the PC version, while it's going to be a fairly similar reproduction of the Quest version, you are going to have some options like some super sampling and a few more particle effects, but it's largely going to be the same game.
Who's not going to turn the graphics up? Like, I want it to
Right.
be more retro. No, I mean it's retro enough. I want it to look as good as I can, and I think that's really cool that they're adding that.
Yeah, we saw a similar upgrade for their last game, and I always forget the name of it, Theta Legion VR.
Mm.
They did a a visual upgrade to that game as well, and that game looks amazing inside the headset.
Yeah. So, what do you think their next one is going to be like? They keep coming out with these different nostalgia games, right? You had a shooter, and now you got a sword, or you had a sword one. Now, what's the next one?
I don't know, man, because they're taking a different approach than like say like an Ivanovich takes to it. Ivanovich puts you in these kind of arcade style games where uh Garage Collective kind of has this thing going on with console and PC genres. So I don't know. I don't know where they would take it next.
Wow.
I'm certainly going to be interested to find out though.
Wow. I'll tell you what, if you want to play Zelda in VR, this is about the closest thing you're going to get right now, right? And it's really cool.
Yeah, it reminds me of like a Dragon Warrior, like Ultima, or like some of the early Final Fantasy games. It reminds me of those type of games, and it really hits you in the feels, man. If you grew up on consoles the way I did, you remember playing these types of games, and it's kind of a dream come true to be inside one.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Anyway, super cool that so much new content coming to this. I look forward to checking out these new enemies and these new bosses, right?
Yeah.
That's really a lot of the draw to the new content for me is seeing what these new mechanics and these new enemies are all about.
Yeah. I just like to see a game succeed, and it's super cool that they're just keep making this game better, even though it was already amazing.
Garage Collective says you'll know soon.
Oh, hey.
Smiley face.
All right. We don't even have to wait that long.
Awesome. Anyway, once again, Stones of Harlath available now on Oculus Quest, only $10, coming to Oculus Rift on the 19th, along with the Arenas update. If you don't have it yet, I mean, man, it's $10.
Yeah. What
Come
are you
on,
doing?
man.
What's wrong with you? I question your soul.
Anyway, we'll have more on this game on the Wednesday shows ahead. We are going to be getting our hands on this update really soon, and we'll be sure to let you guys know what we think about it after we have a chance to play it.
Yeah. Look at those little cute guys there, the little baby guys. They're cool.
Yeah, you can't, don't let them fool you, Roots. I'm sure they're vicious.
They'll jump on your face, right?
Like those wolves that live in the woods, man. Those things are.
Don't be petting the wolves.
Anyway, that's going to bring us into the week's reminders, and we're going to start off with what's out this week. And we mentioned at the top, we got a few things out this week, namely Synth Riders finally getting a PSVR release. Of course, this is the rhythm/dancing game from Cluj Interactive. I didn't get a confirmation on the price for this, but it's $25 on all other platforms. So I imagine that it's probably $25 on PSVR, although we do sometimes see a Sony tax that would bring it up to 30. Anyway, the best game of its kind, easily the best music library in rhythm games, in my opinion.
Yeah, super cool that PlayStation players are finally going to get to check this dancing simulator out. Or at least that's what we call it. It's a rhythm game, but you're really going to find yourself dancing to the music as you're bopping along. And I would imagine everything's the same as far as the way you group up with friends and hang out in the lobbies and stuff. I don't think it's cross play, but I would think with other PlayStation VR people, you could hang out together, right?
Right, right. I don't think it's crossplay, but I think a lot of people are going to buy this on PlayStation VR
Yeah.
because the footage I've seen from it looks really good.
Looks amazing, and like you said, there's nothing really like it. There's a lot of rhythm games out there, but this is definitely a unique one.
Yeah, and this one especially well suited for move controllers, right? I mean, like this game will completely fit within the tracking area of the camera,
Yeah.
and I mean, you're catching these colored balls with colored balls. I mean, how perfect is that?
Everything's gonna be perfect, man. It's gonna line up. I think it's a good match.
As we mentioned, Ven VR Adventure also out this week from Monologic Games, coming to Oculus Quest for $30. What more could we say about this masterpiece of a platformer?
Pick it up. That's what I could say. Or Roots
That's
will
what
question your soul.
that's what I say as well. We really put over Cyril and Garage Collective just then for supporting his game with free content, much like Skydance Interactive in the segment before. We put them over as well. But I mean, who supports their game like Cloudhead Games and Pistol Whip? The Smoke and Thunder update coming this week to all platforms simultaneously, absolutely free of charge. Now, with that said, they're raising the price of the game. Like the updates have all been free, and there's friggin' between 15 and 20 of them at this point. It seems like,
Mm.
but they're going from $25 to $30, and I can't say that I blame them with all the content that they've added to it since launch.
That's worth $30 all day long. And if you don't like it, well, you should have bought it for the last when they were giving you free updates left and right. You know what I mean? There's been a big enough chance to get it at that price, and it's only $5 extra, and it's not even retroactive. They're not saying, oh well, we're not going to give out updates anymore. They're going to start costing money. We're just going to start charging people from here forward more money, which I think is what every dev should do. You know, if you're
Yeah,
if
and there's still time. They haven't raised the price yet.
Ooh,
I mean, if you don't own it and you're interested in it, get it. And let me tell you, these themed campaigns that they're adding in really make the game. Like the last one, I forget what it was called, but the science fiction campaign that they added in was really awesome. And I bet you this Smoke and Thunder is just as awesome.
yeah, I haven't tried it, and I have talked to somebody that couldn't tell me anything about it, and I won't tell you who that is because they told me it was amazing.
Yeah, right. And I'm sure it is.
It looks cool, dude. Like the old west. It looks hard. It looks like you better you better be ready to play some. Let's put it this way, Wes. When does this come out?
This comes out on the 12th? On the 12th.
Okay, so we've got a couple days to work our legs out, bro, because we're gonna be tired as f, bro. Our legs are gonna be sore. I don't like playing this game when it's sore. So
Yeah, this is one of those one and dones for me. So like make sure you beat the campaign the first time you're in there because you're not coming back tomorrow.
no, you might wait a week.
Archangel says add it to your cart. Do it now if you haven't already. Exactly. Exactly.
Absolutely. Yep.
Anyway, that's what's out this week, and that brings us into our next reminder, and that is the wish list. This is the part of the show where we ask you all to please join us right now live in real time as we all collectively go together and support the developers by wish listing a game. And it could be one of the games we've talked about. It could be a game that we haven't mentioned, maybe a game we talked about last time we were on. But we all should go right now and do our best to support these awesome developers by wish listing their game on the various stores.
I don't have anything to wish list, Wes. Everything's wish listed, bro. Or I own it already.
Yeah, that is a bit of a problem, isn't it?
Good problem. Good problem to have, right?
It is a good problem to have. I'm trying to think here because I know there's stuff coming that I haven't wish listed yet. That we've talked about recently, but it's all escaping me at the moment.
Yeah.
So I am going to go and wish list um, from the headlines the what's it called? The Drop Dead Dual Strike Edition
Hmm.
on Oculus Quest.
I'm gonna do the climb too in preparation for the possible show copy of that goodness.
There you go.
Wolveraza says he turns off the music of synth riders and cranks his own and go batshit crazy. You must try it at least once. And I want to try it, and I want to watch you try it because I've never seen anybody go more full out when they're playing VR than you, Wolveraza. You go full in, bro.
Yeah, and I can't say that I've ever seen anybody take a rhythm game and turn the music down. You know what I mean?
Well, if you don't like the music and you don't feel like because really, if you think about synth riders, it's not like it is a dancing thing, but it's not something that like Audica, you feel like you're conducting, right? Like you really do feel like you're
Right.
almost playing the music. But you feel like you're more going along for a ride with synth riders, which is what's so cool about it. So
All right, so I have now officially added Drop Dead Dual Strike Edition to my wish list. Let us know in the comments down below what you added to your wish list.
absolutely.
All right, and that brings us to our final set of reminders this week and every week, and that is how you can do your part to support us and our community. Well, of course, if you're new to the channel, the easiest thing and the best thing that you can do is click the big red button and the bell to stay up with all of our content going forward. I meant what I said. We're playing catch up this week. Going to be loads of good content. I'm probably going to stream a game this week, probably Blair Witch, but I don't know. We got to play Vengeful Rites as well and Larcenauts. So we've got a lot on our plate this week. Let us know what you guys want to see, and I'll probably stream one of those games.
Absolutely. Wolveraza clarifies he was talking about Pistol Whip with the music, not synth riders. Synth riders, you
Okay.
absolutely need their music. So that does make more sense because I don't pay attention to the music of Pistol Whip. I just I shoot everything. There's too much going on for me to try to be in rhythm to that game.
Yeah, it certainly does make a lot more sense. The pistol whip, I could totally see that. It's
Especially
like I use it.
I was
Sorry,
gonna,
go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say, especially if you use that, like some music is just so good for killing things, right? Like it's just like hard metal, and yeah, I could just see him just going to crazy, killing things. So
Archangel says I expect you to die too. Yeah, I think that's this month too, isn't it?
yeah,
I think it is.
yeah, I can't wait for that as well. Although, I completely expect to be stumped right off the bat. I wasn't,
I
I even
I
got stumped at
expect
the
you to
beginning
die.
of that game. You know,
Yeah, I expect you to die, Roots. Like totally.
yeah. Oh, I don't want to die, dude. I will die though. I'm sure. I expect to die for sure.
Anyway, for those of you who have been longtime subscribers and you want to do a little something extra, you can do so by supporting us on Patreon, where for as little as $3 per month, you can gain access to our weekly show notes, exclusive content, and insider updates. Uh, Probably haven't been as good about that lately as we normally have been, but we haven't been putting content on our regular channel lately like we normally do. So we're just now starting to get normalized from chaotic events, to say the least, in both of our lives. The Patreon certainly going to also reap the benefits of that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And Onakazi does make a good point. He says if you're gunning for the leaderboards of Pistol Whip, you absolutely do need the shoot on beat. And
Absolutely.
I'm not that good, man. Like that's the expert level. Just lucky to get through the thing.
Now, I play it that way when I play it. The problem is I can't sustain it long enough to practice at it. I enjoy it. Like if I could play that game pain free, I'd play it every day, but I can't.
If you had
Right? I can't.
if you had a like on the grip button, if they added a duck for grip, that would actually be really good, right? For those people that don't, then you could sit down and you could play. So,
Well, if you get experience at the game and you do practice a little bit and you have enough room, you can get better at shimmying from side to side instead of ducking so much, and that really does help a lot.
mm,
Um,
just need a
and
space.
from what I hear, they have disabled the thing that makes the game freeze when you get outside the little spot you're supposed to stand, which would really help a lot for that as well. And I have not tried that out yet. But if that's the case, I might not have to duck so much after all.
Oh, good. Wow. Cool.
Anyway, for our last reminder, is how you can come home to your new home, to our home, where we hang out all day, every day, talking VR, talking live. I'm talking, of course, about the Virtual Strangers Discord. Pretty much everybody that's in the chat right now is on the Discord, and we're on there day in and day out, talking VR, playing multiplayer together, talking about life. We invite you to come along and join the conversation. Invitation again in the description below.
Yeah, go where everybody knows your name. That's our Discord. And that's what everybody loves cheers, right? So our Discord is the cheers of VR.
You know, so I have some people on the Discord that I would consider to be very good friends, but I don't know their name. Like I know their handle, but I have
Yeah.
no idea what their. I barely know what your name's is, Roots.
Well, my name for all those people out there that wants to know what Roots' real name is, it is James. Just like Radio Runt and just like Jim Hall, even though he calls himself Jim. We're the three J's, the three James.
So like my handle is Wes, but my actual name, Weasel.
Yeah. It fits, bro. From the because the weasel is wiry, man. You can't grab him, bro. He just slips out.
That's why I'm so lethal.
Yeah.
Anyway, Wormsworth coming through with the $5 support. Thank you,
Nice.
bro. Really appreciate it. Putting that $5 in there towards our community copy of The Climb.
Oh, nice. Yeah, absolutely. And Wolveraza says he rejoined Patreon this month, so we're gonna have to give you something for sure. Well, you'll get what you normally get, but
You'll get what you deserve. You'll get what we give you.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you, thank you, Wolverine. I noticed that you did in fact rejoin the Patreon, and I appreciate it. We've probably lost 5 patrons over the last 4 to 6 weeks for whatever reason. I guess we need to do some more money shows. I don't know, man.
Yeah, well, for some people it's about support, and for some people it's about the content. So I don't blame anybody if they feel like they're not getting the content that they want to give the money. Then support us with likes, clicks, whatever.
Long as you're showing up, you're watching the shows, you're leaving the comments, that's really all we can ask.
That's never been about the money. It never will be about the money either. So
that's true. That's true. The money is just something that we use in order to make the content better for you. So it's your money. It's still your money.
Yeah.
And we're using it to provide you with better content.
And Spry Guy letting us in on the simple fact that he is actually Slim Shady. We got Eminem in the house. I did not know that. Got famous people, bro.
Well, I would just have to ask him then, since that's the case, if he would please stand up.
Please stand up and give us a $50,000 donation, Slim, since you're so rich.
And put one of these fingers on each hand up.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You're going to be able to do that on PlayStation VR.
That's right.
That's what I hear anyway.
Yeah. Well, then we'll be left out as the Oculus Quest, the only people that can't do the middle finger in VR.
Anyway, with that said, friends, I'd like to thank you all once again for watching. And for Roots, I'm Wes. Let me know what you want me to stream, guys. You have the choices. Tell me which one to go.
Yeah. Let them know
Bye
on the
now.
Discord. Take it easy.